ladies and gentlemen, King Edmund Keli'i Paki-Silva Jr.
Aloha, good morning. Before I begin, the speakers before me spoke with love, dedication to truth, and the call to bring about peace and reconciliation to this world. Oftentimes, we talk about peace and nothing else happens. Today it's my hope to call upon all world leaders to stand up, be men of integrity and honor, and fight for justice, peace, and reconciliation, and to listen to women in your life, because there lies the truth. They come from a very strong foundation of truth, because like Mother Earth, we are from the earth. And as indigenous people, we know this knowledge, we know it to be true. And that knowledge is ingrained in us as indigenous men and women. I'm the hereditary king of Hawai'i, simply because of my blood. But before I continue, I want to acknowledge a few people. Under this roof, in this hallowed hall, we must be brutally honest and speaking truth to light that will lead to peace, healing, enforcement, and reconciliation. I want to acknowledge and extend my hand of aloha to our hosts, the people of Panama, Dr. Melita Harris Farrell, and to all who imagine this historic moment into reality. It took a lot of courage for them to put this together, a lot of strength, and I recognize their strength to bring about peace and reconciliation, but mostly for standing up for those who cannot fight for themselves. And that's what we are here for. I'd be a terrible king if I didn't fight for my people, anymore for you who are African descendants who would not fight for their people. And that is what I'm here today to encourage you to stand up and be that power. The power that leads from a place of peace and grace, of humility. And it is that humility, that alone will conquer the world of hate and anger, frustration. We know the past, we know the history. We can talk about it all day long, from 7, 8, 9 generations back. All of that's important. We know the history. What is it that we're going to do right now? This very moment. This is this historic event. This very moment. What are we going to do? Warriors who I have here. How many of you trust yourself? If you tell me you don't trust yourself, that means I can't trust you to move forward, to build a better nation. And it starts right here. And you cannot lead from the front and step down and someone else lead in your stead. I believe in 3 things. I believe in God. I believe in my people. I believe in the people here. And I believe in myself. Today, you heard about people talking about the truth. So I want to ask, what is the truth? Well, truth is a protected bodyguard of lies. In the first stage, it is hated. In the second stage, it is violently opposed. And in the third stage, there it is, the truth. Truth. As an indigenous man, king, grandfather, father, son, brother, uncle, and great-uncle, how can I, in good conscience, address peace and reconciliation without first discussing the great evil, recognized for what it is, evil? For over 50 years, many of my people went before the United Nations to address the corruption and theft of the kingdom. But justice is not only blind, it is also dumb and deaf. There are facts in recent evidence that strengthens my academic findings, the United States of America stole the Kingdom of Hawaii for its resources, particularly for Pearl Harbor. Case in point, U.S. Public Law 103-150, the apology resolution passed by the U.S. Congress and signed into law by President William J. Clinton November 23, 1993, apologizes to Native Hawaiians for the overthrow of the lawful government of the Kingdom of Hawaii. They admitted, and in the same stroke protected their crime with a disclaimer saying, nothing in this joint resolution is intended to serve as a settlement of any claims against the United States of America. Their term, non-binding, highlights the hypocrisy therein. That's the uncomfortable, that's a lie. And the truth is surrounded by that lie. Indigenous nations are often disregarded and face discrimination and persecution and prosecution in the legal system of those very countries who use colonization to overcome them. This leaves them vulnerable to extreme violence and abuse. Those who have spoken against these atrocities ended up imprisoned, beaten, or murdered. That's the truth. We'll start. Where did it come from? The Vatican. In the year 1455, Pope Nicholas V, the Roman Pontifex, created the Doctrine of Discovery. That in 1493, Pope Alexander VI declared this vital document holy. Holy. On the contrary, this unholy document gave absolute power to murder, rape, and exterminate all indigenous people who were not Christians, and to take their lands and natural resources, all in the name of God. If that's the case, their God is a murderer, liar, thief, rapist, child molester, bigot, adulterer, racist, and coward. My God is benevolent, omnipotent, omnipresent, slow to anger, forgiving, and loving. That's God I know. The Catholic Church used God's sacred name for evil. Evil that created unimaginable, unconscionable pain without consequences or accountability. The order from the Vatican labeled all indigenous peoples as us, as subhumans, a mistake that God created. They should be exterminated. This disease, bigotry, and inhumane acts in the Vatican killed more people than any other disease in the history of the world. For the record, my God, our God, makes no mistakes. And it is because of His will, and His will alone, we are here today. To address this problem and to stand up. I lead from the front. Those who want to follow me can. I don't lead from the back. The only way you can affect change, make things happen, is not by just talking, but through an action. Action that is right and just, good, for the betterment of all of us. I don't advocate violence. I advocate peace. But to do it in a succinct, good way with strength. And my voice is strong, but I promise you, if all of you stand with me, and Dr. Morrow and those who are here, our voice together is much, much stronger. And the world cannot fight all of us. Theoretically, indigenous people are the majority on this planet. We are the majority. Indigenous World International Court, we can bring justice. Everything that has gone on can be heard. And our voice can be strong. And I believe without a doubt that it will succeed. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing it. What I just spoke about is called Ho'oponopono. On my dad's side of the family, Her Royal Majesty Queen Liliuokalani said, she was my cousin. The cause of Hawaii and its independence is larger and dearer than the life of any man connected with it. Love of country is deep-seated in the presence of every Hawaiian, whatever his station. She's right. As king, to me, the entire world is Hawai'i. I'm no different from you, and you're no different from me. I have 2 arms, 2 legs. I'm a human. I can think, I can walk, I can act. I feel sickness, I feel shame, I feel good, I feel everything. That's what human beings do. There should never be borders. What does borders do is separate us. And that separation prohibits the outside world to understand what is going on in your country. That's not going to happen as I build the International Indigenous World Court. And even today, as I speak to world leaders around the world, I always encourage them to stand firm, stand tough, and defend and protect your people. I call the men to be men of integrity and honor. Those are the kind of men I like to talk to. Now, I go to the gym and spar with them and play with them and have a good competition. The women in our lives to be confident and proud of who we are as men, that we listen to them. So I'm encouraging you to listen to Mother Earth. Mother Earth is talking to us. That's who we are as indigenous people. Therefore, by violating the rules of law, the Vatican exterminated every human decency and human rights for the First Nations people as though they never existed. In their religious teachings, one single man in history stood up against the evils of man, and that was Jesus Christ. In the New Testament, John 13:34, he said, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so must you love one another." How difficult is that? That shouldn't be difficult. Why can't we just reach across and hug each other and say, "Hello, brother. Hello, sister. Why can't you know? Come on, welcome to my home." I remember a time in my youth that I experienced that through my family. We need to start doing that more often. When I first met Dr. Barrow, I said, "I'm a Hawaiian, I love to hug." So I hugged her with love and compassion. Because this is who we are as indigenous people. We're not afraid to express our love and who we are as people. We're not afraid of it. No one should be. It's absolute law, even celestial or heavenly law, which supersedes all laws on earth, is constantly being violated by the Vatican and Christians worldwide. There is no greater law than that of the Word of God. In order for there to be peace without borders across the planet we call home, the Vatican must apologize and overturn the Doctrine of Discovery. This apology must have enforcement powers to see that this order is carried out and never repeated again. So in closing, I will say, therefore, today, in front of all of you, the world and Almighty God, on this 19th day of May, 2022, I, Edmund Keli'i, Silva Jr., the hereditary king of the Kingdom of Hawaii, no Hawaii, am not asking, but I'm directing the Vatican's Chief Magistrate, Pope Francis, whose proper name is Mario Bergoglio, who is Bishop of Rome, Vicar of Jesus Christ, successor to the Prince of the Apostles, Supreme Pontiff of the Universal Church, Primate of Italy, Archbishop and Metropolitan of the Roman Province, Sovereign of the State of the Vatican City, Servant of Servants, to overturn the Doctrine of Discovery effective immediately, and to personally apologize for all the indigenous nations that were negatively impacted by this decree issued by his ancestors, Pope Nicholas V, Pope Alexander VI, for crimes against humanity, Africa, England, the Americas, Hawaii, France, New Zealand, Panama City, the United States of America, and Netherlands, all nations vastly impacted by European royals. They too must apologize for the crimes against indigenous nations. My voice is strong. You know, I have a saying that I much rather hear an uncomfortable truth than a comfortable lie. We need to stop lying to each other. We need to be strong. We need to be honest with each other. We need to speak truth to life always. And in my opinion, that's how we can unite as a people. And I pray this day that we found the mental truth that we can rally around and we can forge this new path to true forgiveness, true peace and reconciliation. I thank Dr. Burrell and all those who put this event together for inviting me here. This has been the best day of my life. Is to be here and to be amongst champions, leaders, those that are afraid. Don't be afraid to stand up, be strong. And I'm always here. I think to be there to guide you and to protect you, but most importantly, I need for all of us not to look backwards. There's nothing back there. Just look forward. And today is that day. Thank you for having me.
Sithi makube khonsi kube hele kudade kumnyama kuvela ukukhanya sithi hotsho